Welcome everyone to this session, and today's topic is sex. It's a very large topic to cover for all of us. It creates a lot of judgments. For some, it creates fears. For some, it creates guilt. It's a tool for many of our emotions. So we'll kind of break it down into a few pieces. We will talk about our sex organs itself. We will talk about sex. We will talk about relationships that involve sex. And from all of that, again, my job at every point is constantly to bring you to an awareness of your emotions. So, what are your emotions, and what is it that you are storing in your energy pot? That is going to be the final answer to everything. For me, the topic can be anything, but it finally ultimately boils down to what is it that I am experiencing in terms of emotion? What is it that I'm feeling? What is my emotions? Firstly, to bring ourselves our notice to the sexual organs itself and how much shame they already create in us. That even when you were young, I don't know if it still happens like that, but when we were young and we used to go to the chemist to pick up the pads for our periods, and then the chemist would wrap it up and hide it and give it, and we would come home. At least that's what how my house would look like, that I would hide it, I would keep it someplace. And it was a big thing if somebody found out that I was menstruating. And today when I look back at that experience, I laugh, because I say, what is it that is such a big secret that's being created out of this very normal thing that happens every month? It's a natural process, and yet it created so much of shame. Again, what is it that it was doing to us at that point in time? It was giving us this conditioning that anything to do with our sexual organs, it's not good. It's not something that you can talk about, and you have to keep it to yourself. So constantly being made aware of and being made to feel guilty or being made to feel ashamed. But who is creating the conditioning outside? It is our energies. We came to experience this shame. Whatever is happening in our universe, in the world outside, is all a creation of our own energy. And so if we are going through this experience, if society is giving us this experience, if a country is giving us this experience, if a government is giving us this experience, guess where the experience has actually been created? So no matter what the outside looks like, if I start to clear my judgment, I will actually find that my experience of those kind of people who can throw that judgment at me will automatically reduce. I don't have to go and shut five mouths outside. No, as a matter of fact, all that I need to do is to look within and throw out this shame or this guilt or this judgment. Where is the work to be done? Constantly only on the emotion, constantly only on the release. If you guys are looking for release processes, of course I have the candle. You can release all your emotions into the candle. There is another process on my channel itself. It's called Tools for Deeper Release, and you can go and check that out as well. And that's a much deeper release than the candle. Some of the incidents that have happened in our life, which have created a huge impact on us and really brought us down or given us a lot of shame or given us a lot of doubt and lack on ourselves, then we simply need to do a much deeper release, and you will find it very, very helpful. A lot of people come to me after that, flying, like literally saying, it's so beautiful. It really changed my energy. It made me feel so much lighter. So today, after the session on sex, some of you might need to do not just the candle, but even go to a deeper release. Just saying. So talking about the sex organs and how much it creates such a matter of shame on us. And then we move to how we first experience asexual activity within us. And when I was kind of, in my energies, I received answers for all of this. And for the masturbation I received was, it is simply another way for you to express love to yourself. If there is only you, that there is only one person to give love to, and that's to yourself. And then this simply, even you wanting to pleasure yourself, is simply putting yourself on priority up there and saying, I'm important and I want to express love to myself, and with that thought. But what happens right now? First feeling that you got to go is, oh, nobody should be able to see. You're ashamed of it. That's the experience that you have chosen for now. So, starting to release the judgment on yourself and on all things that you consider good and bad. There's an entire judgment about whether this is good for you or that is bad for you. You start to jump into the action too quickly. It's not about the action. Now you go ahead and you haven't cleared your energy and you are still feeling all judgmental about it. What is going to happen to you in that case? From the outside, there will be 10 people who will point the finger at you. Why are those people pointing the finger at you? It's very simple. Who are they but your mirrors? The mirrors are only going to show what you hold. It doesn't necessarily mean that the judgment has to be on one topic and that exact topic the finger will be pointed. No, the energy doesn't work on topics. The energy works in emotions. So let us say sex has created in you a lot of judgment and a lot of, this is right and that is wrong, and that's judgment. It doesn't necessarily mean that you will be shown that judgment constantly only when you're trying to have sex with people. No. What have you stored within you is judgment towards yourself. So if you've stored judgment, it can play in your life in many different ways. What if you decide to remain celibate your entire life? Then will that judgment not show up? It will still show up in other ways because you have judged yourself or you have judged somebody else to be wrong. There will be another instance. It could be at work, it could be at home. And that's why I tell people, when somebody outside is judging you and you are feeling all hurt, it is important for you to put the finger back in and say, okay, what all are the places that I'm judging myself? It is not necessarily related to that topic. Again, somebody at work might be judging you for your bad performance. And when you sit down and take this guidance, the answer might suddenly show up as the word sex. It just recently happened to somebody when she was trying to work on something else completely unrelated. But the word that came to her was sex, because that's the part where the energy was blocked and she had created a lot of emotions. And so when you sit down in guidance and ask that what is it that I'm supposed to learn from this, we sit and judge all the time. Everything that you do when you are doing it, and what is the emotion that you are creating from it. A guy came to me and said, I don't know what to do. Can you help me? I don't know who to go with. Should I go with my first girlfriend, or I have this other girlfriend? Should I go with her, or should I go back to my wife? I can't decide what to do. And as he said this, I burst out laughing because I said, what is it that the emotion is getting created when anything is happening with either of the three? So all of these three right now are simply tools for you to judge yourself, to make yourself feel more guilty, even to create fear. Oh my God, I hope she doesn't find out about this. I hope she doesn't find out about that. Out of this whole experience of sex, what is actually getting created for him is fear, guilt, judgments. And so I said, either you release all of these, emotions that you're experiencing, so that then the experience will automatically show you what is your next step. It will automatically play out for you and your answers will become clear to you. Or you keep sitting in this and keep making this experience more and more deeper, because that is what all that it is all about, putting emotions into your energy field, this use of word sex, or even this experience of sex. So again, I'm going to just share with you what all over the years I have received my understandings of sex, and I operate from my understandings. I understand that many other people, you go to different gurus and they all have a different take on sex. And this is mine, because I don't go with what somebody else is saying. and then I operate with what is my standard, and I only need to be truthful to myself, because all of you here are simply my mirrors. So again, I received that self-love. The masturbation is simply just one way to express self-love, so you don't need to feel guilty about it. As a matter of fact, there was this one instance where I was told, you chant Om. In my guidance, I received chant Om. And so I started to, I immediately sat up, and I love chanting Om. So there I was doing these slow, beautiful chants of Om. And in the middle of all of that, suddenly I received the next direction, which is, okay, now masturbate. So I got extremely worked up, because I said, what are you saying? What of this? Like, Om is such a beautiful world. It's the vibration of this earth. And on the other hand, you are taking me to do this, which is, which is done behind closed doors. And why do I need to do this? And what is wrong? And, this all sounds so wrong. I knew that there was judgment involved somewhere. So I immediately sat down with my notebook and started to ask questions in my guidance as to why I was being told this. And the answer that came was this: one of them takes you to an ecstasy in your energies, and the other takes you to ecstasy at the physical level. So both of them are taking you to bliss. Why are you judging one bliss over another? They are both bliss. Why are you judging the nature of the bliss? Let it go. And that was where I understood that, wow, how much judgment we've created towards an act which is actually something that even children know. When children are born and they are not yet conditioned that this is wrong, that is wrong, there is nothing, they are not judging. So when you are not judging, that's what you create, and you simply do it as an act of something that gives me joy. And then there is this other part where you're constantly judging yourself. And then the guidance to me was, why are you judging yourself? The judgment doesn't serve you. And so the judgment got released, and yet I wasn't done. So so then they said, okay, don't call it masturbation, call it self-love and an expression of self-love. And I said, yeah, all that is okay. I mean, you always need a second person to create something. If self-love was all there was to it, then why would a man be required to create something? And this is what the sex organs are for. And the answer came to me saying, no, that's not all that the sex organs are for. The sex organs, like every other organ, are there to function at all parts of time, at all points in time. And as it exists, we have this desire. So if there is a desire being created, then it must be that it has more work than just, okay, you will produce children from 20 years to 40 years, and then you are done. The organ is here to give you pleasure. You eat something, you receive pleasure at what you love to eat, and that's about it. And then as comes the question of, why do we need the second person? And the answer I got was really funny. And I wasn't even thinking in that direction, and I wasn't ever thinking like that. But the answer that came to me was, you women, you have an oven, and that oven can bake many goods. Okay, so you bake some, you bake some rotis, or you bake some bread in that oven. Now, do all the breads that you baked belong to you? What is an oven going to do with all the breads? The dough that was there doesn't belong to the oven. The ingredients that went into the dough, it doesn't belong to the oven. And yet, just because you had something in your oven for some time, and then it popped out and it was ready, now you're like, no, this is mine, this is mine. So it's not yours. And I've talked about it in many different ways in all my sessions, when I say, you people, the children are not yours. The children are simply actors. You don't own them. Your one chromosome here and one chromosome there didn't really create that. It was the energy that put the life into it, and that energy field decided what experience they wanted to have. So really is, you have an oven, understand that it's for a purpose, but that's not the only purpose of your sexual organ or of this entire process. Everything is to create experience. So far, what experiences have we created? When people come into my house, they come in all the times, and everybody is welcome. And so this one man who came in, I put him into another room, and on that particular day, there was nobody in the house except for him and I. And at about 2 in the morning, I opened my eyes. There was not a noise or anything, but I opened my eyes. I shouldn't even say I opened my eyes. I was made to open my eyes and to look at the door. As I looked at the door was opening slowly, and behind the door, this man was standing over there. The first thing that happened to me was that I checked into my heart to see, okay, there is this man that I don't know from Adam, and here he is walking into my room at 2 in the morning. What am I feeling? What am I feeling is my one question to go to at all times. And I do that without fail. Before I can create an emotion or a reaction outside, my heart normally, like 99% out of 100, will check within to see, okay, what am I feeling? And so as I looked within, I felt nothing. I said, whatever he does to me, he can only do that to my body. I'm not my body. And as soon as this answer was in me, and I had tapped into this answer that I'm not my body, then I lost any fear of what might happen to the body. As I lost my fear, after that, I created an action outside. My action outside was to scream at him, saying, what the hell is happening here? So as I shouted at him, he ran into the room and he held my feet and he said, Ma, please let me sleep here. I don't want to sleep in that room that you have given to me. The room that I had given to him is the room where I do, for many years, I sat in that room and I did all my messages. So there's a very strong energy. This is the room. This is the room from where I do the webinars. There's a very strong energy. There's a very strong guidance that happens in this room whenever people are here. But what had happened to him was that he had fainted. He sat in front of my temple and he tried to do his mala, but whatever his energy play was, he sat on my chair where I sit, he sat on that and he fainted and he was knocked out for 2 hours. So when he came back to his senses, he was shit scared as to whatever happened to him. And so because of that, at 2 in the morning, he came into my room because he was shit scared. But here it is. What was happening? That's the story of his universe. And what was happening in my universe is the story of my universe. And then, as I was able to process my emotion and come from fearlessness, the outcome was that he came in and he touched my feet and he said, please, I can't go back into that room. Had I come from fear, had I come from this frequency, there would have been an outcome at this frequency. But I looked within, I came from this frequency, the outcome was from this frequency. The outcomes change just like that. We don't even get to know, because when we pick up something, when we pick up a frequency, automatically the outcome shifts. Whatever is happening and a consequence of this action at this frequency, it cannot happen at that frequency. For every action, there is an equal vibrational reaction. When you change your frequency, then that's what happens. The outcome automatically shifts from here to here. Yes, Malika, there is so much of working on oneself. I've been doing that non-stop, and it's a non-stop working. When people say, okay, oh, you are so enlightened, and I say, no, enlightenment is momentary. Every moment to moment, there is enlightenment, and every moment to moment, there is an opportunity for you to either act from awareness or to not act from awareness. But yes, what happens is that even in that 1 minute, when sometimes something happens and shakes me up, in the next minute, I'm at least able to see what is it that I'm operating from. Sometimes when I operate from fear, then I'm able to see, okay, I'm operating from fear. What do I do at that point in time? Actually, I don't do anything. I simply sit and keep observing my own fear while the outside is already playing out from that frequency. I can already see, I'm in fear, okay, things are getting shittier and shittier and shittier. And then as soon as I understand that, okay, I'm able to change my frequency now, and I can release this fear and come from fearlessness, I only work on myself. I stop watching what is the outcome, because I understand that the work is only within. This beautiful outcome right now is simply showing me that, hey, excuse me, You got work to do within. So I put all my focus within and I don't pay attention over here. And then automatically, as I'm able to lose that fear and come a little bit more into my limitlessness, this becomes my frequency. Automatically, the outcome shifts and gets over here. So coming back to the word sex, if any of you have questions, because what I'm actually doing right now is kind of relating to all the questions that I got in the morning. So what happens? You might be at an age where today you are not the one who's having sex or anything, that's out of your life, but you might be still, it's just not that things are over. You might be still judging, your child, your neighbor, your friends, whoever. If judgment is happening, then who does that judgment belong to? It belongs to you. If judgment is happening, then who is it going to impact? It's going to impact you. Where is it going and sitting? It's going in your energy field. From judgment, we create a lot of expectation. From expectation, we create a lot of hurt, sadness for ourselves. As we release these judgments on ourselves, what is going to happen? Automatically, our judgment of the other is going to start getting released as well. When you are feeling uneasy from the desire of sex, then first see what is this uneasiness. You are wanting to release it, but it is coming from lack. It is coming from lack. You have a desire of sex which cannot be fulfilled. So you are right now sitting in lack. So simply release the lack itself. Let the universe manifest something nice for you, but right now, not from this frequency of lack. Your frequency of lack, you will be in a rush to, get married or find a boyfriend. Our job is always within. When we do the job within, the outside will manifest from our frequency. You might find, okay, I need to put a formal name to it, so I need to go get married, and that will assure me sex. Well, don't be so sure. There are many people who are even over here will vouch for it, that marriage doesn't assure anything. Everybody is an actor who have been handed roles from your energy pot. So first change your energy pot, and then that's where the energy of everything that you do will shift. Okay. Can having casual sex with someone you have just met affect your energy frequency negatively? If you think it will affect you negatively, then it will. If you think it won't affect you negatively, then it won't. It's all your thoughts. And that is why, what are you thinking? Where are your thoughts going? Is the only thing that you got to watch. So what are you thinking? If you are thinking, oh my God, I can already see, that the sex has created this huge negative energy on me. As you are thinking that, you're absolutely right. It is being created. Everything is about you and your judgment. Who am I but a mirror to you? So whatever it is, sex is simply a trigger. We've got relationships, we've got money, and we've got our own body. These three act as our triggers. Sex is a very small part of those relationships because it doesn't feature everywhere. But because it's something from where we have chosen to experience a lot of guilt, a lot of fear, a lot of shame. So that's why it's so prominent in our lives. We might not be judging ourselves, but even as we hear about some party, forbidding somebody else from behaving in a certain way, or even celebrating Valentine's Day, as we hear all of this happening, what are the thoughts that we are getting, and what are the emotions from those thoughts that we are creating? If we are creating a lot of judgment towards them too, then you will remember from the judgments piece I said that, create judgments which work for yourself, which serve you. As you hear of a random news, pay attention to your emotion. Always that one question: what is it that I am feeling? Is it possible that even though you and the other soul is not physically together, but one day, one moment, you tend to feel energetically connected to that soul, like comes to you and makes you feel a feeling towards that person? Everything is possible, darling. Our energies play out our emotions all the time with anybody as the actor. Anyone. Random people, actors. Attraction and emotional connection. heart space and sexual attraction. As I said, it doesn't matter who that other party is. Could be, a wax, those mannequins made of wax, but you might feel sexual attraction towards them. Sometimes when people want to have sex with you, you immediately like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? What a creep. And I constantly look at, do I have oneness with this person as well? And I bring myself into oneness. And it's so beautiful that in front of my eyes, the role completely changes. It happens right there. Because what happens, it was simply that something came to me at this frequency. I worked on myself. I looked at myself. I created oneness with this. And immediately the outcome changes. Most of the times, this person will simply come over here and start calling me Ma. And it is just hilariously beautiful. And when they call me Ma, they mean it. You can see it from them that they mean it. And that is who I am. I am that mother to them. Again, when somebody comes to me, it's my job. The work has only come for me to look within. What am I feeling? Am I feeling guilty? Then I have to release the guilt. Am I feeling fearful? I have to release the fear. And then as I do all of that, the outside scenario totally changes and brings in so much of unconditional love between the two, because I worked on my oneness. Thank you, Gayatri and Anana. Yes, thank you. I'm so pleased with myself for having manifested you as a teacher, guide mother to break the judgments. So beautiful. Thank you. Wish all had met you during school days. No, I wish I had met this person of mine during school days. I only wish I'd met myself when we were introduced to sex education. So much fun and liberated. Excuse me, but you chose. It was your energy that chose to not be liberated at that time. Your energy chose those experiences and nothing else. And so today, your energy is choosing different experiences, and here you are. Absolutely. How to not get emotionally attached to the sexual partner who is not the long-term partner. Yes, attachments, they can happen with anyone and everyone. And so how to not get attached? No, that means we are running away from it. So even releasing the fear that we will get attached. At this point in time, as you say, how not to get emotionally attached to the sexual partner, the attachment will happen. And when the attachment happens, guess what? When you are aware, you're going to be able to look at it. Yeah, as you start to understand your attachments itself, you can start to release them, because attachments will bring you to conditional love. And only awareness is needed that here our love has become conditional. The more you let go of attachments, the more unconditional your love becomes, the more unconditional love you receive. Don't be scared. You know the answer. You have the tools now, and you can keep releasing, because attachments are like this. We go and put them outside, and then while we are not watching, something just creeps right back in. So is anything released forever? No. But do we know how to take a look at it, how to observe it, how to release it? Yes. So we can keep doing it. Is it pointless to have criteria? For an ideal or a perfect partner, is it true that you only attract people to yourself or a reflection of your own frequencies? Only that, dear. Because through the criteria, what are you going to do? You're going to bring yourself a lot of lack. Because whenever you set up a criteria, it's for a purpose. You've put these thoughts in your head for a purpose, because now you will be measuring and judging everyone on that criteria. So, when I first met my husband, I was an investment banker, judging by the gallons. All of this energy work was not known to me. And I met with him the first time, and I totally rejected him. He didn't fit my criteria. Thank God for money and all the forces that looked after me, that I was actually able to release those judgments. I didn't even think I was releasing them, but things just kept falling into place. And that's why I say I have so much grace. I have so much to be thankful for. And so things just kept falling into place, opening my eyes here and opening my eyes there. And I was able to see that, no, oh my God, He is the person who has been sent for me. I let go of all of those criterias in a box because he didn't match up to any. It's a beautiful marriage and it's a beautiful relationship. It's such an equal relationship. And I understand why was I able to attract him in my life. It was my judgment. When I released, only then could I attract him in my life. Otherwise, I couldn't. All the beautiful energies that already were a part of my energy field, they played out. Guidance played out on its own. Why? Because it was part of my energies field. Right now, guidance is playing out for all of you because it's part of your energies field, and that's what has pulled you over here. I'm not the one, that friend of yours who introduced me to you, not the one. It's your energies that have pulled you over here to listen to these answers today so that some more judgment can be released, some more work on yourself can be done. So if one indulges in a sexual and emotional relationship outside one's marriage and has no guilt and regret about it, and in fact derives happiness, is that okay? If that person is deriving happiness out of it, who is that person? Who has to look within? That person only. From the outside, you cannot even tell what the other person is receiving from it. You assume what that person is feeling or receiving from it from the filters that you have in front of you. And where are your filters coming from? Coming from those 100,000 lives that we have already lived before. And we carry those filters with us. But if it is happening to you and you are the person who is looking at a relationship, then you simply look within and see, what is it that I'm deriving from this outside relationship? And you will be surprised. I know of two people who have extramarital relationships. They have processed their emotion. It's even known to their spouses that they have this relationship, and they feel this joy from it, and they receive joy from it. So the whole point is, who do you have to be truthful to? To yourself. And what do you have to be truthful about? You have to be truthful about what all you are judging, because you are only judging yourself. When you start to empty yourself, you are constantly looking at judgments that are not working for you and treating yourself favorably. How? The universe is playing in my favor. So everybody who's coming to me is also playing in my favor. If this fellow has come to me with a very indecent proposal, then that is also playing in my favor, because he has come to show me something that I wasn't able to see earlier, and now he's showing it to me. I always sit and ask Money, is there anything I need to learn from it? Sometimes the answer is no. No, this person is not here to teach anything. You're simply playing a role in their life. All right, then. I even release the guilt that I feel towards that role. Sometimes my role is to give danda. And so if I feel, poor thing, poor woman is like 80 years old and I'm screaming and shouting at her, I even release my, my guilt from that. And I'm happy to scream and shout at everyone. And how do you know that when you've met someone who is right for you? Everyone is right for you. Everyone is right for you. Everyone is right for you at that point in time. Every person is right for you because they're the energy that you are at. And from there, as you work on your energies, some people will, fall by the wayside. Some people will change their roles because now you are no longer the energy. But every person in your life is completely right for you. Lots of love and hugs for these beautiful reminders. Thank you so much. Have I answered all questions on sex? Or does something else remain? I think we are...
You were to tell us a story, Meenal. You said you'll tell us.
I actually did say that. And I have like 1,000...
Yeah, you said I'll tell you all in a minute.
Yeah, actually, that is true. Can you remember where, at which point? Because, 1,000 stories right now, and not one is coming to mind. So let me think of the story that I was meant to tell you at that point in time. And actually, it wasn't related to sex. I understand that the story wasn't related to sex, but it was related to judgment. And now that story has gone way out of my head. So I can see you forgot. Yep. So that's totally it.
Meenal, how did you let go of the judgment of looks? Was that the story? I would like to know.
About Sudhanshu? Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's a very long story. It was so the universe put Sudhanshu and me together. It showed us each other um, over 3 years. This fellow would come from somewhere or another. His reference would come. Somebody or the entire universe kept bringing him back to me. I had two criteria. In my box were two criteria. One, the man shouldn't be bald, and the other, the man shouldn't be fat. Okay, so these were my two criteria. Okay, I was the investment banker. Okay, man cannot be bald and man cannot be fat. So somebody used to ask me, what if he goes bald later? You can never tell when people will go bald. What's if in the genes? And I said, no, I have time to prepare for that. But when I meet him, he can't be bald. I met with Sudhanshu, he was not bald, but then he was, plump. This friend of mine who was trying to put us together, and she knew I had this criteria that it can't be, he can't be fat or anybody like that. And she had brought him to me and introduced and everything. So the first minute I looked at him, she could see in my eyes that, something was kind of shutting. And she came running to me and she says, 2 more kilos and he would be fat. But right now he's pleasantly plump. Don't you think? I looked at her and I said, no, he's fat. So shut my eyes on him right there and then saying, ye to mota hai. This is just gappe happening, people. The session on sex is over. I was based in New York. This fellow used to live in Minneapolis, and he had come to celebrate Christmas at his friend's house, and we were all collected in that friend's house for the next 3 days. So there was no escaping each other, but just that I had rejected him in my head. There were many friends, but everybody knew he and I would start talking and the whole room would go silent because everybody was like, kya baat kar rahe hain? Because they knew that we were being, somebody was trying to hook us up. So too much of interest in what our conversations were. The evening we all collected together. We were about 20 of us. And so as usual, Hindustani friends circle. So everybody said, chalo Antakshari. Men's versus, girls, whatever. And Antakshari started. And so as usual, women know more songs. And the guys were very quickly out of songs. And so there is this song that came with R. R से गाना उनको गाना था और कोई भी तो वहाँ पे किसी को र से गाना आता नहीं था. And the women were counting and all of that. So suddenly this man stood up, okay, and he was so excited because he was going to save the world with this, क्योंकि उसको र से गाना याद आ गया था. So he was going to, he was so excited, and so he stood up. And as he stood up over there, पूरा की पूरा ठुमका लगा के, but उसने ठुमका लगा के, and he sang this song with R, जो को उसको याद आया था. There's an old movie, and पता नहीं तुम लोगों में से किसने, the new ones wouldn't have even heard that song, but that song is called रामपुर का वासी हूँ मैं, लक्ष्मण मेरा नाम, सीधी साधी बोली मेरी, सीधा साधा काम. And it was the most dehati gana ever, okay? And as he starts to sing that song with like thumka thumka and all of that, this friend of mine who was introducing us, उसने तो अपना मतलब ना माथा ही पीट लिया कि oh my god, ये तो मतलब ना क्या कर रहा है ये लड़का, अब तो कोई स्कोप ही नहीं है. Like outright, even she rejected him in that moment, कि मतलब ये ऐसे कौन करता है, especially if the girl is checking you out, ये वाला गाना कौन गाता है. And I actually, it was so funny because I was looking at him and I said to myself that had it been me, in his place, and I had to sing a song with R और ये गाना याद आता, and I knew that someone is checking me out, मैं तो गाना गाती ही नहीं, मैं तो चुप बैठी रहती कि नहीं याद आया, ये गाना तो गा ही नहीं सकते. And at that point in time, it struck me, what he's inside, he's outside. He has no airs. उसको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, उसको कोई चेकआउट कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा है. And that was the moment I said, wow, that is just so beautiful. And that's the moment that actually that cross converted to a tick. He was least the kind of guys that I had dated earlier. But then I, when he sang, so I still tell people he serenaded me with Rampur Ka Vasi Hu Main. Matlab, so that's when in my head I gave him, I gave him a chance that no became a yes. But when I think back today, thankfully, that guidance, I mean, today I can understand that that thought that came to me that, wow, this guy is different, was simply a guidance telling me, leave that, consider this, and then started the story. So yeah, so I have been so blessed in holding these vibrations. See, I always take the credit for all the good things that happened to me. I'm responsible, my energy is responsible for all the good things that happen to me. And so as you shift your energy, you can come into my energies. I offer it to everyone. That's how.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ria. Thanks so much. Life is like it's like a roller coaster with all the kinds of stuff that I went through in each of my experiences. And just today, when I look back at those experiences, for everything only thankfulness. Even for the first marriage, even that I lost my father at the age of 52. He was 52. Even understanding that and just simply moving to say, okay, every experience that happened had so much of a purpose. And there were so many heartbreaks along the way. Oh, beautiful heartbreaks along the way, like totally shattering heartbreaks along the way. And today, when I look back at it, again, I understand that while at that moment, it felt so much like a heartbreak, but it was the universe playing in my favor. All right, people, thank you so much. Thanks, Akanksha. See you guys, and lots of love. And thank you so much for being here. Lots and lots of love to all of you.